This is CBC Winnipeg News.
Next thing you know, the police are outside saying you need to leave, so that's what we did.
Something's telling me that we're in trouble.
The sky got almost like black with red showing in it. So then we knew this is really, this is a major fire.
Fleeing the flames, hundreds of people pack up and leave Cranberry Portage as a massive, out-of-control wildfire burns nearby. Most have taken only the essentials, not knowing when they might return. Thank you for being with us. We'll bring you the latest update on the fire from the province just ahead. But first, CBC's Brittany Greenslade is in the PA and has been speaking with evacuees.
A smoke-choked sky filled with flames. Fire pushes towards the road.
It was like the apocalypse.
People in Cranberry Portage were on a 2-hour standby to leave Saturday night. The situation changed quickly.
And then it turned to 10 minutes. And next thing you know, the police are outside saying you need to leave, so that's what we did. We packed up and we left.
The fire is now about 32,000 hectares in size and 1.5 kilometers outside of town.
It was very panicky and stuff and just worried about your house.
The fire is believed to have started from lightning strikes. It's being fueled by high winds and dry conditions. More than 500 people forced to leave their homes.
It's been pretty stressful, I gotta be honest. It was very scary. When a forest fire is coming close, that smoke is frightening, and you see the orange glow behind it.
People packed what they could, hit the road. Many scrambled to find places to sleep.
It's kind of like a game of Tetris, right? So you're trying to fit people in. And then we have large families, like we have a family of 6 in a hotel room with 2 double beds.
Larry Smirch has lived in Cranberry Portage for nearly 45 years and has been through this before. This time, it's more emotional, and the thought of losing his home and belongings hurts more.
My wife passed away about 1.5 years ago, so when I started talking about collectibles, then I just thought about her.
Highway 10 between the community and Flin Flon briefly opened Monday, allowing CBC to get inside the fire zone. Fire crews have been working around the clock, setting up sprinklers around people's homes and properties to ensure their buildings remain safe, while air tankers from Manitoba and Saskatchewan have been fighting those fires from the sky, and crews from Ontario are on the way. Fred Cook came from Tatasqueat Cree Nation to help.
Right now we're only doing some hot spotting, and we're going to a hot area, a hot zone, where they just finished bucketing.
There is no power. Melissa Lundy and her husband are keeping the gas station running and crews fed.
And I started taking food out of the freezer to cook it for the guys.
The wildfire is not yet threatening Flin Flon, but cell and internet service has been impacted. Brittany Greenslade, CBC News in the PA.
Drought conditions are making it a challenge for firefighters. It started with a lightning strike on Thursday evening. Manitoba Wildfire Service Director Earl Simmons says crews could be on the scene for weeks putting out that fire.
I've been working in wildfire for 40 years. I've never seen a fire move like this fire moved. We get calls, why didn't you do something to stop it? We used water bombers from both Manitoba and Saskatchewan to protect people's property. Life was the first priority, and then property. And quite frankly, we just couldn't put people in front of the path of that fire at that speed.
So wildfires also came up at the Manitoba legislature today. The Progressive Conservatives say crews responding to these wildfires are doing their best, but don't have the funding that they need. For more, we're joined by the CBC's Ian Fraze live in our newsroom. Ian, why are the PCs accusing the NDP of underspending on emergencies?
That's because of what it says in this year's budget. The money set aside for emergency costs is around $50 million. That's half of what it was last year under a PC government. Tory interim leader Wayne Owasco questioned how the NDP can fight more fires with less money.
In April, the Grand Chief of Assembly of Manitoba Chiefs demanded the province rethink its budgetary cuts to emergency management funds. Quote, To cut emergency funding in half is an extremely dangerous and ill-advised decision that has serious implications for rural First Nations, end quote. Has the NDP Premier, the MLA for Fort Rouge, reconsidered his cut, and we make more funding available to fight wildfires?
The Premier says his government will spend whatever's necessary.
I'd invite the member opposite to state on the record what he knows to be a fact. Any wildfire service or evacuee assistance that is necessary will be provided by the provincial government. That's right. He should state unequivocally if he believes that actually to be in risk. He won't even make eye contact for those watching at home. That's because he knows that the line of questioning he is undertaking today is disingenuous.
Wild Canoe later told reporters the number in the budget is simply a placeholder. While Owasco says if that's true, it means the NDP isn't treating the budgetary process seriously. Riley.
All right, thank you, Ian. That's the CBC's Ian Fraze reporting live from our newsroom tonight. Winnipeg police are investigating a man's death as a homicide. Police were called to Portage and Arlington early on Sunday morning. They found an injured 46-year-old man who later died. The man has been identified as Jacques Kablu Ituk from Rankin Inlet, Nunavut. A Winnipeg court heard today how police pieced together serial killer Jeremy Skibicki's movements. Investigators went through hours of surveillance footage, including of him with 3 of his victims. CBC's Caitlin Gowerlook is covering the trial and has more.
This video of Mercedes Myron walking with Jeremy Skibicki was one of the last times she was seen. A Winnipeg court heard Monday it was taken the same day in 2022 police believed she was killed. Skibicki is charged with first-degree murder in the deaths of 4 women. Morgan Harris, Myron, Rebecca Contois, and an unidentified woman Indigenous leaders have named Mushkade Bishake Ekwe-Iban, or Buffalo Woman. Court also saw video of Skibicki eating a meal with Harris at a shelter not long before she died. Police seized more than 2,000 hours of surveillance video during their investigation. Skibicki has admitted to killing all 4 women, but plans to argue he's not criminally responsible due to mental disorder. Video also captured the accused disposing of the women's remains in garbage bins near his North Kildonan apartment. As the accused was escorted out of court during a break Monday morning, the grandmother of one of the victims said to him, "They were not garbage." Skibicki's trial continues Tuesday. Caitlin Gowerluck, CBC News, Winnipeg.
The pro-Palestinian encampment continues at the University of Winnipeg. They arrived on school grounds Friday, joining a wave of protests across Canada and the United States. More than a dozen tents are set up behind the barricades on the school's front lawn. A Palestinian flag flies above several signs laying out the protesters' demands. Organizer Christine Kia says protesters want to make their message heard peacefully.
Because we are here for human rights, and we are not saying we need war against somebody. All we want is war stopped against a particular population.
Kia says the encampment will be up until the protesters have their demands met. Those demands include, quote, cutting all academic and economic ties with Israeli institutions. Well, it's been a bit of a weird spring for some farmers and ranchers in our province. We've seen drought conditions over the winter give way to intense rain in parts of the province in recent weeks. And that has some getting creative in trying to manage wild swings in the weather.
Here's my map pen. It's underwater.
Driving on Mark Schramm's cattle farm near Cartwright, Manitoba, you wouldn't know that just a few weeks ago, he was preparing for another year of severe drought.
We were at the point 3 weeks ago where we were wondering whether, is this going to be a year where I was going to have to sell cows or whatever? Like it had just gotten so bad.
Last year, his farm received just 20 millimeters of rain in 7 months.
You can't grow much on 3/4 of an inch of rain. And the August rains, September rains, they're great, but they just don't grow like May, June rains do.
This year wasn't looking much better until it rained 5 times that much in just 2 weeks. Extreme weather swings, just one symptom of climate change, Schramm says he has experienced on his farm firsthand.
I feel like we've seen more extremes in the last decade than we saw before. I've definitely seen in the summers as they get hotter that the moisture we do get tends to disappear a little faster. So I've got this one line here that...
It's those extremes that have forced SRAM to get creative, using pumps like these that run on solar and wind power to give his cattle a water source. The local watershed district also built a new dam to help capture more water from a nearby creek.
Things are looking a little more positive than maybe we were thinking a number of months ago.
Carson Callum is the general manager of Manitoba beef producers. He says while spring rains have been good, much of southern Manitoba remains in a moisture deficit.
From a soil moisture standpoint, I think we're in a decent position. There's definite, really extreme dry areas.
He says mild winter weather did help farmers conserve feed. Some was shipped west to Alberta, where drought conditions are more severe.
Oh, thanks, buddy.
Back on Schramm's farm, the recent rain is cause for renewed optimism.
If the tap turned off now, we'd probably still have a better hay crop than we had last year. So it's like, I'm hoping this continues.
Even if it is a bit muddy now, he says he's ready to adapt. Riley Lechuk, CBC News, Winnipeg.
Well, have a look at this video from Sunday. This was shot in downtown Winnipeg, and yes, dense smoke across parts of the province from those wildfires making its way through southern Manitoba. Ethan Williams is in for me tonight, tracking both the wildfire risk and our air quality.
Well, thanks, Riley. And of course, with the fire situation in the province, all eyes are turning to the fire danger map, the risk for tomorrow. And actually, it is quite low through much of the province, thanks to some rain that we're going to be seeing moving in. But up around the Flin Flon area where the greatest risk is, it's a little bit elevated. And it just goes to show that even under maybe a low to just moderate risk, we can definitely still see those fires popping up and can be quite large at times. The smoke, for the most part in the province, is going to be staying to the north thanks to the winds kind of keeping it out of southern Manitoba. But for northern areas over these next couple of days, of course, this is going to be coming from fires near the Saskatchewan border and also fires in northeastern BC as well. And as a result, we still do have localized air quality statements that are in effect for areas including the Pas and Flin Flon. And it's particularly in the Flin Flon area where in that smoke, we're now seeing that air quality health index over a level 10. So, of course, that is going to be impacting everyone, not just those who have respiratory difficulties in that part of the province. It's also dry there right now. We've seen sunny conditions through the north today. Where we are seeing a bit of rain is actually in the Winnipeg area and through portions of southern Manitoba and through the Red River Valley. And as we head through these next couple of days here, we will continue to see that. A low pressure system to our south going to spread some rainfall through southwestern Manitoba tomorrow morning. That front will probably reach Winnipeg by about the mid-afternoon hours tomorrow. You notice here the north, though, staying mostly dry for the next couple of days at least. Southern sections, including Winnipeg, getting another round of rain as we head into Wednesday morning. For areas around Flin Flon and for the north, the best chance for the next kind of bout of rain will likely come from this cold front, which will be moving through as we head through the latter part of Wednesday. So still a couple more days to go. And even at that, we're not looking for a whole lot of rain in that part of the province. It'll mostly be in southern sections where we could see, areas of maybe 20 to 30 millimeters by the time we get to Thursday afternoon. This may be overshooting it a little bit, but definitely some significant rainfall on the way. The winds shouldn't be picking up all that much, thankfully. We will see some gusts pick up tonight in the Winnipeg area, maybe in the range of 30 to 40. And then as we get into Wednesday morning, that's when we see those pick up again in the Red River Valley and along the Hudson Bay coast. For Winnipeg ourselves, we are looking for a mostly cloudy start to the day tomorrow, and then by the noon hour, some showers starting to move in. Not much of a temperature change between noon and 4 o'clock, though, as we continue to see some rain falling by the afternoon hours. I'll have a full look at your Winnipeg 7-day forecast, Riley, coming up.
All right. Thank you so much, Ethan. Well, there's cautious optimism that a temporary watercraft ban on Clear Lake could help prevent zebra mussels from taking over the ecosystem. Parks Canada officially banned watercraft on the lake Thursday for the season. Chelsea Kemp visited the park this weekend.
Ironically, ourselves, we had actually just gotten a boat last year. So not having the boat access, it's unfortunate, but I think, what they're doing here, trying to certainly control and mitigate the zebra mussel problem, I think is good, because it is a big problem. And we've heard of it, we've seen it out in Lake Winnipeg, and so we don't certainly want to see that happen here.
There are definitely, the boaters and such that were hoping that they'd be able to get the watercraft onto the lake following a similar pattern that was in place last year. There were those that were definitely hoping the park would be proactive and do something to protect the health of the lake, particularly for this season, and just trying to figure out exactly what the issue is or what issues we might have.
We enjoy taking the children out, tubing and water skiing, and some fishing. They're upset. That's one of their highlights of the year, is going tubing and enjoying time on the boat. We're sad. It feels like you have a pit in your stomach. You worry about the lake, the cabin owners. It's a sad situation. It's understandable, but hopefully it's not long term.
People will still have access to the lake itself. The park is not closed, the town site is not closed. There's still 3,000 square kilometers of park to experience. They can still swim, they can still use the water in those regards. They just can't go on top of the water.
We don't own a boat, but we do kayak quite a bit. I think they're trying to do the best that they can to protect the parks and the waters, but it is a little bit disappointing. We do have some friends that have cabins and cottages up here, so I know that they're a little bit affected by it. But as far as we go, it's too bad, but hopefully it's not forever.
I hope that they caught it early enough and that they can rectify the problem and maybe get back to normal for next year.
Still ahead, how some Winnipeggers are stepping up after the evacuation of Birchwood Terrace due to structural concerns, including how the tragedy helped forge a new friendship. That story's up next. Stay with us.
At least for today, indeed. The markets have the numbers today. Happy Monday, and we'll talk to you tomorrow. It's Reed Southwick from the CBC National Business Desk. A teacher in St. Albert, Alberta, has launched a new running group to help Indigenous youth connect with their roots. It is called Windbreakers, and the club provides kids under the age of 12 free training and cultural education. The CBC's Ken Dawson attended a recent session.
Well, it's been a difficult few days for residents of Birchwood Terrace in Winnipeg. Some have taken it into their own hands to help people who have been displaced from that building. It was ordered evacuated by the city last week after structural issues were found. That is where Crystal Costello met Deidre Buchler, an 81-year-old with mobility issues and no family in Winnipeg.
How are you doing? My angel, I'm fine that you're here now. Oh, I'm so thank you. Our building has been condemned by the city of Winnipeg, and we just found out Thursday night. We all had to be out by Friday morning at 8 o'clock in the morning. She's not exhausted. She's exhausted. I'm exhausted. I know. I've been at Birchwood for close to 7 years. And yes, it was my life. There's a lot of wonderful people in that building. But they have treated us terribly. Crystal has helped me out. She came into the building yesterday and someone told her that I probably needed help, and she's been with me 24/7 ever since. And she'll be in my life forever.
I was just having tea or about to make a cup of tea in the morning. I just woke up and I went on Facebook and I just saw what was happening at the Birchwood, and I have a mom who had to move in 3 months, and it was overwhelming for her. And I'm just like, that's a building with mostly adults, like elderly people, and how are they going to do anything? So I just got up and got dressed as quick as I could, and I went over and just said, like, what can I do? What can I do? I just asked around in the foyer if there was anybody that was an elderly person that would need help, that I was there to help, and everybody kind of said, there's this girl named Deidre, and she's all on her own, and she doesn't have family, and she has no kids, and she has a dog, and she's overwhelmed. And I'm like, okay, where is she? And so I knocked on the door, and she's like, hello? What are you doing here? Yes, yes, you did. And I said, I'm here to help. And she says, oh, good. I don't even know where to start.
And what's this? And that's the house that I grew up in that they've demolished now.
Really? Where was that?
In Tuxedo. How do you pack up your life? I don't know. It's never happened to me before. I've never been in a horrible situation like this in my life before. I don't know what I'm going to do. Probably start bawling any minute now. But I've got my love here.
We'll get through this.
She's the best thing that ever happened to my life.
We were just destined to meet.
I think so.
Well, as we had to break, have a look at this. This is the Northern Lights from just outside of Winnipeg on Saturday night. Quite the show if you managed to take a peek. Ethan's back with a last check on our forecast after the break.
That is B-Talks with Learning How to Live. We're at 4 minutes before 6 o'clock here on CBC Radio 1. And over to our CBC Winnipeg local news desk now. Rosanna Hempel joining us with a look at news headlines. Good afternoon. All right, thanks very much. Rosanna Hempel from your CBC Winnipeg local news desk. Dylan Longhurst is on the controls today. Chloe Friesen is our show director and is in studio for a last look at the commute. Hello.
Hello.
Hi.
Well, it could be as much as 5 to 10 millimeters in Winnipeg tomorrow, with the first round of rain moving through, and then temperatures and conditions really staying about the same as we head into Wednesday. Another 5 to 10 possible. Start to see a little bit of clearing end of day Thursday, but not before another chance of some showers that day as well, with the temperature starting to bump up as we head toward the weekend. But unsettled, definitely the key word here, as we continue to see cloudy skies mostly for Friday, and another round of showers possible as we head into Saturday. It won't be till Sunday and Monday until we get some more substantial clearing, and temperatures, Riley, looking to be a bit even below seasonal. So we've got some wet days ahead of us here, at least for southern Manitoba.
Well, it'll help green up the grass a bit. Thanks, Ethan. Well, it was a weekend of decluttering for some in Winnipeg, and a weekend of discovering newfound treasures for others. This spring giveaway weekend is tonight's Daily Lift.
It's kind of my thing. I love it. And so it's like my favorite weekend. Probably about 4 hours. I did like 4 or 5 hours yesterday and would go again on Sunday. Oh, I love free weekend, and I find a lot of things for my friends. So my friend's looking for a filing cabinet, so I just asked her if she wanted this and found a lot of good stuff, and I think it's a good way to recycle your items.
We've been cleaning out a few things from the garage and the back shed, and I think it's just a great opportunity twice a season, right, to pull some items out and clean up a little bit and recycle. I think if anybody can use some of these items, it's not like they're garbage. They are reusable, and hopefully they can find another home. It's a steady flow. People are driving, people are looking, some people are stopping, some people are continuing on, but it looks like people are still aware of it, and I think it's a popular weekend in Winnipeg.
Every year. It's quite exciting, actually. You never know what you're going to find, and you turn one corner, you'll find a treasure, or someone else will beat you to it. So that's very hit and miss, definitely.
I keep thinking back to that couple we talked to last week who was looking for a PS5, a gaming console on giveaway weekend. Wonder if they found one, because that would be quite the story. That's our show for this Monday. Thanks for being with us. See you tomorrow.